in the ear. He got grazing fire in the ear, and he has an injury there. And it could be that somebody was aiming for his head, and with something like that, he may have tilted his head. He could have done a lot of things that basically was very fortuitous in terms of he moved in such a way that it wasn't a more catastrophic injury. But we don't know. We don't know all the circumstances. What we do know is that obviously he's okay, with the exception, of course, he got, he has a small injury in his ear where the round hit. But we don't have a lot of other stuff. But they're going to be looking very closely. A lot of times, as we say in the terrorism world, before they're acting out in the real world, they're usually active as you can imagine in the virtual world, and they're communicating through social media and various other.
Just want to say, just a little while ago, caught live when President Trump was giving a speech in Pennsylvania. Somebody tried to assassinate him. Now, first, before anybody could start to say that it was just some kind of stunt, actually, the AP already confirmed, and it's got to be more confirmation, I would imagine, but the AP already confirmed that the bullets that were fired hit somebody, one of the supporters in the stands, and killed the person, wounded another person. So, and when you listen closely, when they play the replay, you can hear what sounds like gunshots, right? And, so this is a live feed. I'm going to come back to it a little bit. I just wanted to say that, we got to watch the rhetoric, the constant rhetoric from the news media that the United States will be over if Trump became president. That's that's some dangerous talk. You know why? We already spent 4 years with the guy, right? So this is some serious
platforms with like-minded individuals that may have the same sort of violent extremist beliefs that they have, assuming that this is a violent extremist thing, which it could be simply some other motivation. It could be mental illness. It could be a lot of different things. But they're going to be looking at that to find out, is there more than just this one incident? Is there possibly a broader conspiracy? Could there be others out there who are planning to do something connected to this? And that's what they're going to be trying to figure out very quickly.
Well, convention.
All right, Hal, we're going to keep the conversation going with you. Austin Westfall, my colleague here, going to be preparing to continue on this coverage. Austin, thank you so much for joining us as we continue with this developing story and everything that you've been able to provide to this context. We're going to see you up here in just a little bit. For everyone else that's going to stick with us here, though, Hal, I want to continue on with kind of the next steps. I did have a question when it comes to this rally and everything that happened there. I did see that almost immediately after they escorted the former president, out of there, everybody kind of dispersed and all of the attendees left. Is that protocol? Wouldn't it be almost beneficial to investigators to kind of keep witnesses there on the scene, or how do they go about processing that and making sure that no suspect were to get away? Of course, we do know now that the shooter is dead. One person was killed. But again, how does that entire process work?
Well, normally what they want to do is, first off, they don't necessarily want to keep them in place. They don't necessarily want to keep them, in the stands. I mean, that's an active crime scene. They have to investigate that. So they're going to want to move people to another area where they can interview them. They can do anything else. They can look at any potential forensic evidence that they may have on them. And so they're going to be doing a lot of that. They will probably move them out, and I would hope in an orderly manner. That's been an issue with crowd control, and that's one of the things I do is I work on what's called crowd management, train crowd managers for incidents like this, on how we move people from point A to point B to where we can control the situation and do all these other things that have to be done. And hopefully that's the case. Now, there have been events in the past where there was a shooter and sometimes the crowd disperses, and it happens so quickly that there isn't a lot of control on where they go. And that's very difficult because they have to go back and figure out who was there. And it can make for a very lengthy investigative process. And there can be gaps in the investigation because they're trying to figure out who was there and who wasn't there. So they're going to be doing that. The other thing they're going to be doing is they're also going to be looking at all the video from people's cell phones, from media, from everything else. And they're going to be trying to identify everybody who was at this rally. They want who they are, why they were there. They're going to want all the information they possibly can. They're going to interview each and every one of them. And they're also going to be keeping in mind that there could have been, depending on what they find out, they're going to be looking initially to find out if there are any other potential co-conspirators, if you will, somebody that could have been in the crowd.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can see who was killed in the stand, but you really can't see that because the person might be behind all of the Secret Service and behind Trump. You really can't see what's going on there. Right? You really can't. And it doesn't even have to be behind, because some of those bullets just kind of flew. If they missed, they could be, the person could be not even in the backdrop. They could be somewhere else on the sideline, somewhere else, and out of screenshot. So you won't be able to see that because there was a lot of shots. Whoever was shot, it was just shooting in the air. He missed or she missed. That probably was a man, probably. And we don't know who got hit, right? We can't see. We don't know how far away from from Trump that person might have been with a stray bullet, and who got hurt. But listen, we got to see. They're pointing to somebody. They're pointing to somebody who might be the person who got hit. Who knows? So some more stuff had happened after this particular incident, and we don't. There's got to be some. This is really, this is bad. But this picture right here is going to be bronzed. This picture right here is going to be.
Here, let's get to the latest.
This
from
picture is
Press
whoever
here.
took this shot right here.
Donald Trump's campaign
That's going to be a shot. It's going to be everywhere.
Fine. After a shooting at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. A local prosecutor says the suspected gunman and at least one attendee are dead. President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. A spokesman, Stephen Chung, said in a statement, a quote, again, he is fine and is being checked out at a local medical facility. More details will follow. The Secret Service also said in a statement that the former president is safe. Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldigger said in a phone interview that the suspected gunman was dead and at least one rally attendee.
See, now, when I look at this photo here, I see the photo, but I don't know whether the flag waving behind him is something that the person, automatically kind of put in the background, because that would be epic if that's natural. I don't know. I got to see some of the live footage to see when this would have happened. But I can see whoever took that photo putting that in the background. That's just me talking. I don't know if that happened that way, but
the attendee was killed, suspected shooter dead. I know that we heard those popping noises when I played out some of that scene from earlier today. Would you be able to tell what kind of weapon was used in that scenario?
At this point, we don't know enough. And one of the things I would point out is,
man, well, I'll tell you what,
relying on an audio feed that came from from media that's there. And so,
hey man, what's going on, man? Red Planet, what's up, man? You want to come up or what?
Zero direction. We can't tell where it came from. We have no ability to do that. And what we hear,
how you doing, brother?
Could have been muffled. It could have been, an echo, if you will.
I'll put the link in the back chat if you want to come up.
You saw,
yeah, man, it's craziness, man.
A variety. You got a lot of people out there. All of this does things with
we don't know who it is, but
be, certainly from where we are, a little
but
bit difficult.
It could be anybody, but we do know it's probably somebody from the left.
The fact that
the link is there, man. Just hit that link.
One shot. It sounded like it was multiple shots in rather quick succession. Would indicate that it may have been a small arm, possibly a smaller ballistic weapon, maybe. And if it was a pistol, assuming it's not a rifle, they said they took out the shooter. They killed the shooter, and that would indicate that the shooter was probably in fairly close proximity, unless they just got really lucky. But it would probably be in closer proximity. That again is a supposition. We don't have any details. We don't know that for sure. But if that's the case, it could have been a
You see the
smaller
link in the
weapon,
back chat?
and
Right,
it
it's there.
may have been something like an improvised weapon, sort of what was used, maybe something that was designed specifically to evade all the security precautions at a rally like this. And if that's the case, it may be a smaller caliber weapon. Could be a 22, 25, could be a 380, a smaller type weapon uh, in terms of the type of ballistics involved, in terms of the rounds that would have been fired. But we'll find that out. We'll also find out how the person killed was killed. Were they behind the? Were they behind? Former President Trump, or in around former President Trump? Was that how they were hit? Could it have been somebody that was closer to the shooter? Could have been somebody that got in front of the shooter, or in front of the shooter while they were shooting, or somebody who saw the shooter and tried to take action. We have no information on that right now. And so we're going to find out more about that situation as it develops. But there's going to be a lot of evidence gathering. There's going to be a lot of investigation with physical forensics on scene, looking at everybody's feeds, whatever they were streaming out there, but also looking at anything online with the shooter themselves to figure out who was this person connected with, who are they talking to, is there a broader conspiracy, do they need to change the threat condition across the board. These are all things the Secret Service is doing in conjunction with other law enforcement agencies.
Hal, I do
Man,
want to
what's
bring
up,
up
man?
this photo.
Hey, what's going on?
From a
Man,
courtesy
did you
of
see this,
reporters
man?
that
This,
calls
man, you see
for
that?
very
Yeah, it's wild, man.
jarring
You
images
know,
that we
not to
see there.
speculate, but they recently had a threat at the state house of Pennsylvania by people mad about the war in Gaza.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if this connected to that, but it's a lot going on, so you don't know who could be behind this kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. We don't. I mean, we absolutely don't. One of the things that 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 I think is one of the things that I know is a problem is all the rhetoric in the national media by the left.
Mhm.
I'm not going to just blame it on them, but when you constantly tell everybody, Americans, that if Donald Trump wins, that the country is going to end, I think that gives rise to kooks and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They keep telling them every time you hear them turn around, it's an existential
I think both
threat.
sides. I think both sides, playing that field. They on the conservative side, they say that you basically, if you're a black person, DEI gets you everything in the world, and you can be unqualified. So they all play in that rhetoric game. I'm actually a registered independent. I don't like neither party.
But let me put it to you this way: if I tell you that if DEI is going to get you a job, that's not the same thing as saying the end of the world if Trump was president. I mean,
I think they all play that same game. Wasn't it like an old political ad where they said if this person wins, it's going to be nuclear war and all this other nonsense? They all play that game, right?
You know what? I guess you're right. There are people saying that Biden is putting us closer to nuclear war than anybody else. So yeah, you're right. I heard that. But this is this
it's uncalled for. It's out of bounds. It's crazy. This is not what we should be. I don't know if it's someone on the left right now. We don't know, but it could. You're right. It could be someone on the left, like you say, inspired by whatever.
Rhetoric.
That's a possibility.
You're absolutely correct. We can't speculate who it is. It could be just a Trump hater. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they said that a person was killed by stray.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's crazy. That's
so when the media listen, if nobody would have got hurt other than that with Trump, the media would have probably came back and say he staged it. But if somebody was killed, they can't say this wasn't real. So the AP has already got the information, saying law enforcement says the shooting is, killed somebody and the shooter is dead.
Yeah, we definitely got to find out what was the motives and who was the shooter, because they're going to be looking into this very, very deeply. They got to, even though he's deceased, they got to make sure there's no other people that are collaborators, no other people that no other cells of people that would do something like this if it's a terror attack.
They're gonna handle this.
Yeah, but I'm kind of sure it's not a terrorist attack, but I think this is all domestic. And I don't know. I shouldn't say I'm sure, but it's probably not a terror attack per se.
It can even be the LGBT, the alphabet community turning up. They turn up sometimes. They get wild and turn up, so they could be mad about something too. You never know. But
he does have a plank against. His plank is to get all that shit out of schools and all that stuff. So they can have a beef. They sure can. But
because you remember they sent the guy for Dave Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl. They sent the guy to attack Dave Chappelle that time.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody from the rainbow community. Yeah. So listen, man, people are crazy about these things, man. You know what I'm saying? And I don't. It's not a good time. But what do you think? What do you think this does for Trump's chances at re-election?
Surviving an assassination attempt, I think he's definitely going up in the polls. I think he was in anyway. I think we. You look at Biden. Biden is just look like they make the joke about the weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yeah.
They're propping him. I don't see a path for victory. It's too late. It's too late to swap them out.
Well, I don't think it's too late to swap them out. I really don't. I don't think it's too late to swap them out. But he don't want to go, and his wife is so power hungry. She, she's not looking like a good wife, man.
There was some speculation that maybe
I'm not even voting this cycle, man. I'm a registered independent.
Okay.
My taste or my choice of candidate is a John McCain type, the deceased John McCain, Larry Hogan from Maryland, or Nikki Haley, more of a moderate Republican, a moderate conservative.
Nikki Haley is not moderate.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying that's who I would want. Somewhat a moderate Republican, a moderate conservative, because I feel like with Republican they go a little too far with some of the stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Nikki Haley was over in Israel signing bombs,
causing a
she was in Israel putting her name on bombs.
All right, so looking here,
listen.
Well, I know that the Republican in primaries and stuff, they play up not just primaries, but they play up the I don't know how to say it, like
rhetoric. I mean whatever.
Yeah, they play up for the base. They play up for the Republican base. The tough guy stuff.
All right, so let me ask you: would you be signing bombs that are going to kill some babies?
As an attempted assassination.
That's a little extreme.
Come on, man.
When did she do this? When did she do this?
Within this whole Hamas war, maybe a month ago or so, she was in Israel, and they got pictures of her. Candace Owens.
Oh, jeez.
They have pictures of her signing bombs. Kill them all, whatever. Some crazy thing that she was writing on.
That would be the person that would get my vote. I'm not a fan of what you just told me, but if you give me Trump, Biden, or Nikki Haley, I would have went for Nikki Haley. I want him, at least to me, she seems the more moderate of the three.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Now, what do you think about Tulsi Gabbard?
Now being investigated.
She's the woman from. She's a Democrat, right?
No, she's an independent, man. She left the Democratic Party.
She's like a Palestinian. She's kind of
she's Hawaiian. She's Hawaiian.
Oh, okay.
She's from Hawaii. From Hawaii.
Well, to me, the Democratic Party the Democratic Party now is the party of the gays and the party of the immigrants. Of the immigrants and the alphabet. I say alphabet. I don't want to mess with your channel. Alphabet community and the immigrants. To me, the black people, black folks, FBA,
and black women. Well, black women also. Black women still clinging.
We've been, like a stepchild, man. It's like a stepchild. We are not considered. We're just taken for granted. Does that mean there's a place for us in the Republican Party? Possibly, but for me, I like I said, I like a more moderate, like our governor in Maryland, Larry Hogan, former
Yeah,
governor,
I heard he's good.
or somebody more middle of the road conservative for me. Now that's not
Let me
everybody's
ask you
taste,
this
but
though. Let's put it this way, man. Listen,
Mhm.
the reason why I would say, you know me, I'm on this big divestment kick from the Democratic Party,
Mhm.
because of the same reason you just said. But the reason why I'm saying that is because if you give at one party all your votes, they're gonna automatically take you for granted. So that they're not gonna do anything for you because they don't
I
have to.
personally, I think white supremacy is in both parties.
Well, hold on. Forget
But I
about,
feel what you're saying.
race for a
I didn't
second.
mean to cut you off. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Forget about race for a second. Let's
Okay.
put race to a side. If you give everybody all your votes, whatever the party is, forget about race. They're going to take you for granted because they don't need to do anything for you because you
That's true.
automatically get your vote. And then when the other side wins, right? If the Republicans win and they know they don't have any black people voting for them, why should they do anything for them? Right? So as long as our vote is, if our vote was split 50-50,
Mhm.
somewhere around there, 60-40, 50-50, then they would really have to put real what's called proposals in front of us, real change, real something tangible that said, okay, I'm gonna vote for this party this time over that
Mhm.
one because I like what they stand for, whether it's economics, whether it's empowerment zones, whether it's this, that, or the other thing.
Mhm.
But right now, neither party has to do anything for us because one could take us for granted, and one says, if I win without you, why should I even give a shit what you said? Now, but that's not what Trump did. When Trump was in office, he did some real reforms that actually impacted black folk. Whether it was prison reform, whether it was whatever he did for the HBCUs, whether it was he had a few initiatives that could actually be traced to benefit blacks. So the unemployment was lower, and the pandemic. Almost everybody who was governing during the pandemic should get a pass. Whether he was a mayor, governor, nobody did a good job in the pandemic. President, governor, mayor, except some of the red mayors. Like the guy in Florida, he never closed down. He never closed down. And Florida didn't have any more deaths than anywhere else. You know what? Some of the red states did better than the blue states during the pandemic. So when you bring race into it, then it's the same old thing. We're never going to get past race because we're going to always have white and black people. I don't know how, you know what I'm saying? How do we can't solve that problem.
That's true.
We can't. It's just whoever's a good person is a good person. And but and whoever's a bad person is going to be bad no matter who's in charge.
I think personally, for me, when I look at the black community, the answer isn't political. None of these political parties or candidates are coming to swoop down to save the black community.
I agree with you.
What I think we need to focus on is the things that we can control or try to control. And you're not gonna like this, but our women are out of control. The single motherhood epidemic, our women are just out of control. They're out here making babies with pookies, which causes more poverty in the black community, causes more crime in the black community, that causes more women, more little girls that are more promiscuous, more boys that are becoming gangbangers and thugs in the single mother-led homes, and that is what's going to lead into a lot of problems in the black community. They did it intentionally to get the man out the house because they knew what it would do to us, and they were some slick, slimy. And it might have been the Democrats that did it. You might be right. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
It was Lyndon Johnson with his plan, the so-called "Help the Negro," was the thing that was sparked the separation of the family. Because let me give a woman a welfare check, but by the way, if you get it, you can't have a man in the house. But let me also say this, and this is the thing that I see that's happening. You know what we don't talk about enough?
What's that?
Parental alienation. The man being alienated from their kids, whether they're married or not. Like we always talk about deadbeat dads and shit like that. The truth of the matter, what's a bigger issue than deadbeat dad is parental alienation. Women use the kids as weapons against men. I believe that's the majority of the problem
is not
besides not being married.
crime. Their goal
If you
is
the
to
man
stop
has to
Mhm.
go through
taking
too
place.
much
So they
shit
go
to
out
see
there
his children.
and
More feminism. That's
Yeah,
more a symptom or
yeah,
you know,
to
thing
whoever
that's because of feminism, you know.
that will be
whatever it's
online. It'll be
because
found
that
in
I think
social
that's a
media.
major
It'll be
issue,
found
and the
in
reason why we don't talk
various
about it
different things,
enough
group chats, all
is
sorts of
because
things.
it
People will
puts
be
the
saying
onus
stuff,
on the woman,
and it's not
and nobody
uncommon.
likes
They
to
will get a
hold,
knock on the
especially
door
black women,
from
accountable.
Secret Service agents who will
You know,
Who's
so I
gonna
don't
protect me,
disagree with
boo? That's what's
you.
going on out
Who's
here.
you missed my show. I had one of those, man. Who's
let
going
them know that they're very much on
2
the
weeks
radar.
ago, I was on Black Man
More often than
Unfiltered,
not,
man.
that's all it takes.
You know,
Mhm.
it's
Deter
pretty much
somebody
to say, well, who's
from
gonna, you
doing
know,
something. And in many cases, they'll find someone is
the lie was
spiraling in a
black
certain
women
direction,
were black women
and they were
ready to
able to
be
create
president of the
resources to
United States?
bear
Do they have the
to
right
deal with what
temperament,
could be mental
and are they
illness or
ready
some
to
other
be
problem
president? And I went down a
that
whole
resulted in
litany of
whatever
why
threat
they
that
are
person
not
may have
ready to
put
lead
out there.
at that
So
much power.
they tend
They
to be very
can't do it.
proactive. In this case,
They can't.
somebody
Right
actually
now,
got
they're
to
looking
quickly.
bad. Mayors are looking bad. They're
Somebody
putting black
actually
women in
fired a
jail.
weapon.
There was a judge in Atlanta that just went
Yeah.
to jail for. Did you see that story?
Who was killed,
Iran?
Atlanta
Oh
judge, a
yeah,
black girl.
yeah.
She was fighting the police or something. I'm like, this girl,
Oh,
what's
let me
wrong with
tell
this girl?
I could go
And
down the whole
so they're going to
list.
be
They
looking
had a
at how
mayor
they didn't
in
find this
Maryland.
person. That'll be
She
a
did
question
3
they'll ask,
years.
but they're also going to be trying to figure out
Mobley, who was
was
the
this person
AG,
associated with
she got
something.
Oh
off,
yeah,
but she got
They'll
convicted.
be looking at all sorts
Henyard
of
is going to go. They got an FBI, you know, the one from Dalton, Illinois.
Mhm.
They got the FBI on her ass. I mean, the women are just dropping the bag everywhere. Lori Lightfoot, she was a DEI mayor, right? Because black people were stupid. They voted for her because she was a black woman and she
I
was gay.
wouldn't say DEI if people voting for the people.
Well, listen to me. Let me. I know, but here's the exceptions, and you
Nah,
know this. Black
they may
people
be making a
generally.
bad choice, you know.
Wait. Black people generally vote for people who are black.
Again, it's unconfirmed.
And if you go
We
back
haven't
and look
heard
at her
anything official
campaign,
thing
all
on
she
that
talked
yet.
about was
It
just
may come
being
in pretty
black
quickly,
and being a
but
woman
if that's the
and
Mhm.
case,
being gay.
that would definitely fit.
And
That's
so a
a
black person in Chicago, they didn't ask her whether she was going to become a sanctuary city and let all and start the immigrant and migrant crisis. I mean, Johnson just put the cap on it, but it started with her. And she did nothing for the city. She alienated the cops.
Mm.
And the black people in Chicago put Brandon Johnson in after, and they voted for these people because they're black, not because they got good policies. Now the blacks in Chicago are in full revolt against the mayor because he put all the immigrants in their neighborhoods. He
Yeah.
told them he was going to do it, and they still vote because they didn't understand the ramifications of what he was saying. And Chicago has this thing they call shots fired. They got this software program that if there's a shooting, they could tell where the shooting is coming from because they have a software feedback program that says it's in this area. We got a whole bunch of gunshots. Go check it out.
Mhm.
The mayor is defunding that, and he's taking that away.
Mm.
You know, so the one safety mechanism that has technology attached to it, you don't want to pay for it.
Well, Chicago politics has always been corrupt, you know, so there's no telling what's going on with that, you know.
Agreed. Yeah, that was, but still,
You know.
let me ask you a question. Do you agree?
I mean, I'm not
disagree?
justifying it. I'm just saying. You know.
No. Do you agree or disagree that blacks have a tendency to vote people in who's black and look like them as opposed to what the policies are?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There you go. So to me,
That's
that's a DEI. To me, that's DEI. That's it. To me, that's DEI. You know, that's what I'm saying. Because you're right. And how can you be a DEI mayor or something like this? Because black people are giving you a vote because you're black, regardless of what you say. And I think that's a mistake. You know, especially
I don't look at every black politician. I'm happy with the mayor of Baltimore. I don't look at every black politician as, you know, they're black, they're incapable. I think that's a very dangerous way to view things. But you know what I'm saying, there are incidents like you saying, there are incidents like that, you know. But not every black person that runs for office is a DEI, you know. There are people capable of running things that are black, you know.
I agree with you. I wouldn't call Obama a DEI guy. You know why?
Well, Obama was a puppet. Me and you are completely opposite on that. Obama did nothing for black people.
Hold on for a second. we don't know if anybody's
They,
going to do anything
they
for black
actually
people.
have
When he
a,
voted for him, a lot of blacks voted for him, and almost 90-something
it's a
percent.
very extensive
But that's
thing
not
where
what
they
made him
do
win. I mean, white
everything you
people
could
voted for
possibly
him too.
imagine in terms of
A
Yeah,
majority of them. You know, so I'm saying he
he
was
did
out.
stuff for the, he did stuff for the gays. He did stuff for the. He did nothing for black people. I mean, a complete puppet. I better watch what I'm saying, but a complete puppet.
scenarios.
No, I agree with you. Afterwards, when you look at his tenure, he was just a black face in high places. That's all.
This particular
That's all he was. So I
highly
mean, you know, so
trained,
that's another thing. So I mean, I'm just saying
they're not
you're
the
right about we
presidential,
can't use that as a blanket. Like I'm
detail.
not
That's
saying
a
any. Like for
little,
example,
here's
that what's that?
detail has a lot of
McDonald,
other stuff
Brian
involved
Donald,
with it.
Mhm.
And,
that conservative
depending on
brother.
the
You know what I'm
campaign
talking about?
season, it can really get
He's
I'm
one of
not
the
sure.
involved.
He's one of the
Especially
conservative. He's a
in
black
very
conservative
robust
dude
campaign season,
that
you can have
he
a
pushes
lot of different
Trump big
candidates
time.
out
He's
there,
on
all
talk
of them
shows and everything.
qualify,
He's a little
most
heavy
of them
set.
qualify for Secret Service
Not heavy set.
protection.
He's he's
And so
a
they can
stocky
really
dude,
drain
but
the
he's
resources
well
down. That's the
spoken
challenge they had.
and he's a
If you
staunch
remember
conservative.
when
I mean, he's a conservative and he
Trump was
got
running
good
for
comeback.
president in 2016,
If he got votes, I can
certainly
dig
just
it.
on the
Because I agree
Republican
with you. I
side,
don't think
there was
just
a
because
lot of
somebody's
different
black, we
candidates
shouldn't
who were
vote
running in
for
the
him.
primaries.
But you know, you
And,
gotta have some
and we kept
substance.
hearing the Secret
You know,
Service
and you need to have
was
substance before
spread
you
pretty
get my
thin.
vote. That's
So
what I'm
hard to
saying.
get
A lot of these people don't
different
have no
resources.
substance. They're people being put in based on feelings. You know, you know what? I'm gonna get this person to try because I feel better if they're in there. I don't know. So they got somebody. Let me see what this guy's saying. Let's hear what this guy's saying.
Anticipating hearing from the president.
Can you hear it?
On this
Let me turn it
Just
up.
slightly.
Let me turn it up.
Standing by right now. We're going to bring him in. Andrew, I want to point out also that we're hearing in from Jackie Heinrich. The Biden campaign tells Fox the Biden campaign is pausing all outbound communications and working to pull down their television ads as quickly as possible. Andrew?
Yeah, Austin.
What does that mean?
Yeah, Austin, let's talk about the political implications of this. The Biden campaign was in the midst of a $50 million ad blitz this month with spots running in all of the key swing states. The massive ad buy was launched last week, according to reporting from Peter Ducey and Jackie Heinrich. The Biden campaign now pausing all outbound communications, and they're working to pull down television ads as quickly as possible in the wake of this attempted assassination attempt on his chief arch rival in the presidential campaign, of course, Donald Trump. We're also learning that President Biden will be making remarks very, very soon. He's home, I believe, in Wilmington, Delaware at the moment. He went to church tonight, as he is customary to do on Saturday nights there at his parish church in Wilmington. And so we're learning that this is going to be coming very, very soon. We have the statement in from President Biden as well. Let's read that. He says, I've been briefed on the shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania. I'm grateful to hear that he's safe and doing well. I'm praying for him and his family and for all those who were at the rally as we await further information. It goes on to say, Jill and I are grateful to the Secret Service for getting him to safety. There's no place for this kind of violence in America. We must unite as one nation to condemn it. So Hal Kempfer, Austin Westfall here in the Live Now newsroom. Definitely a day for the American history books, no less. This is coming 2 days before the start of the Republican National Convention. To Austin Westfall's point, Hal, Donald Trump holds campaign-style rallies weekly. He just had one in Florida this week at his golf course. This has been a common theme and feature of the Trump movement since he came down the golden escalator at Trump Tower in June of 2015. And throughout the duration of the last 8-9 years, we've seen protesters get kicked out of Trump rallies. We have never seen anything like this at a Trump rally. Trump touts his crowd size at these rallies all the time, every chance that he can get. This one turning so deadly. And
so what do you think about them coming out so fast with a statement? I think that's what they had to do.
I think that's the right thing to do, to pause everything. It's unacceptable, any kind of political violence, so I think they did the right thing.
Oh, absolutely. I like the tone of that message, even though we know somebody voted for Biden.
political scripts.
You know, somebody else wrote it for him, but still.
Former presidents wishing the former president
I wonder
speedy
what was been in those
recovery,
ad
law
campaigns.
enforcement for
You
their
know,
quick
they
and
said
decisive
they
actions. And we
took
wait
down
for
their
President
ad
Biden
campaign
to
that they were
address the
getting ready to
nation on
launch.
this.
But I can
As raised,
guarantee
he
you will
faces
be some
his own
incendiary
questions on
conversation.
his
Like
own
if
campaign.
he becomes president, the
We're
whole
hearing
world
from
would
the
end.
president right
And
now. Let's listen.
well, you know, democracy would end. Okay, so
Explain without
what's
any
he saying?
problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I am able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well. But so far, it appears he's doing well. Number one. Number two, that there's thoroughly investigating what happened to anyone else in the audience. We have some reports, but not final reports. And every agency in the federal government, I'm going back to my phone to speak with the federal agencies that are being put together again to give me an updated briefing. Has anything happened? They learned any more in the last couple hours. So thank you very much. And I hope I get to speak to them tonight, and I'll get back to you if I do. Okay?
Mr. President, do you think it was an assassination attempt?
I don't know enough to, I have an opinion, but I don't have any facts. So I want to make sure we have all the facts before I make any more comments. Thank you.
Are you worried about your own safety? Was the security failing, Mr. President?
Nah, he did the right thing by walking off. Don't say too much.
Okay, so we missed the
Yeah,
very
I
beginning
agree
of
with
those
that.
remarks. I want
I agree with
to
him. Just
play those back. Here's Biden speaking
man,
just moments
that's
ago.
tough, man. Sorry, listen, man. What you got to
Thanks
do
for
man,
coming,
for the rest
folks.
of the day, man?
I've been thoroughly briefed
Um,
by all the agencies.
Yeah,
in the federal
because
government.
I just wanted to get on here for a
So we know
second.
now.
I don't know how long I
I
was going to
have
stay,
tried to
but
get a hold of Donald.
yeah, it's wild, man.
He's doing well.
It's just they need to find out, who was responsible and what was their motives, and
There's no
if the
place in
guy
America for this
is
kind of
dead, I
violence.
would imagine he
Sick.
has some kind of manifesto,
sick.
whatever, social
It's one of the reasons
media.
why we have to unite
He
this
probably
country.
got,
we don't know if he's a member of a group or any kind of group or any kind of affiliations.
You think you think they're in his house already?
And all the agencies,
What would you say it again?
You think they're in his house already? You think they know? Do you think they know where he
Oh
lives?
yeah, man. They're going to be knowing what he had for breakfast and who his best friends are, what school he went to. They probably got all that information.
Well, we are assuming that it's a man because they haven't said. They just said they got the person's dead. So, but we could probably 95% sure. I mean, not sure, but certain that it's probably a man. I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised if it was a woman.
And it is happened in Pennsylvania, which is really curious. Pennsylvania is a very right-wing state. Guns, holding guns, religion, all that stuff. So there's a lot of places, man, in Pennsylvania that we are not welcome as black folks, man.
Yeah, well, so they would be more on Trump's side, though.
Oh yeah, but
but all the people in Pennsylvania, whether you on the right or the left, they all got guns.
Oh yeah, they got guns out there, man. Yeah,
Pennsylvania is a gun. Whether you right, left, everybody got guns. It's the most gun-toting state up this far up north. It's like if you're in the South there, man. Forget it. We don't know, man. We don't know. This is kind of deep, but it's what
this is going to be the headline story for the next 4 or 5 days, man. They're really going to. The question next is who did this? Who's responsible? Who was the shooter?
Right. And it's going right into the convention. The convention happens this week coming up.
There's a lot of people.
Well, they said the shooter was killed by the Secret Service. They had a counter sniper team. 2 additional casualties taken to Pittsburgh Hospital. Fox told Perlon. Okay, so there's a few people who were wounded because there was a lot of shots. If you hear it, there were a lot of shots. He took a lot of shots. Now, whoever this guy was, lucky for Trump, he ain't a marksman.
He's not a marksman, but he might have got close. Did Donald Trump? Did he get hit?
Yeah, he got nicked.
He got nicked. Oh, okay.
Yes, he did.
Well, I can say God was with him today, man. I have to say that.
There's no doubt about it, man. but Trump, man. He got, as soon as he felt that it hit him, he got down. They didn't have to tell him. He got down like he's from New York. Let me get down. Woo.
I hear you, man.
Let me get down. So he wasn't waiting for the next shot, man. But if you hear if you get to see the footage, which they're gonna play for a million years now, you'll hear a bevy of shots. Pow, 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 pow. You know what I'm saying? So those bullets went everywhere. So because they didn't hit Trump, so they went everywhere.
If he's very well known, if this whoever this shooter guy is, if he has a lot of military training, he probably knew he didn't have a lot of time.
No,
with Secret Service, he probably knew, hey, I only for what he was trying to do. He probably know he didn't have a lot of time to get it done, so he was probably like, boom, 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 and then they got him with the sniper, the counter sniper got him from.
So that's another thing, man. So he must have had his arm out, when he was shooting. I guess they probably had the snipers there already, of course, looking over the crowd.
Yeah.
And so when they heard the shots, they pinpointed him real quick. So if he didn't kill himself, if somebody got to him, I can see that. So they just weren't quick enough before he let loose the.
They have all those places laid out security wise. So like I think I remember back when President Bush came and visited my neighborhood, they had they do test runs and check out everything before the president comes, or they're gonna have everything laid out. This is where we're gonna have this person. This is where we're gonna have that person. They're gonna have a whole layout of the place before the rally or before the event.
Okay.
So they got the lay of the land. So they probably once you got that third shot off, they saw him and boom.
So it could have been a little bit.
Anyway, so listen, man, I'm gonna end the live, brother.
A small arm like a pistol.
And I'm gonna end the live, man. So you home though, right?
Could be the
so you gonna get TV on too?
Right by the stage.
Yeah,
I'm watching it all on the internet, man. I haven't even cut the TV on.
Exactly. That's stupid. I'm watching it on the internet with you right here. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna do we need TV anymore? I don't know.
Yeah, it's just taking over, man.
The funny thing is that I just finished watching Civil War.
If there's
on Prime. You remember the movie Civil War was out? I just got finished watching that. Me and the wife watched it. It wasn't the best movie in the world, but man, it's funny that this happened on the day I watched this stupid movie.
Two other people that were injured.
One thing we're not considering, I think is a lot of people. I'm not saying they're justified in this, or I agree with them. But I think there's a lot of people that are upset about this Palestinian and Gaza situation. And I'm not saying that justifies doing anything, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are upset about that. It's so many people that could be upset about anything. You never know what could be on their mind.
Of course. I mean, listen. I mean, I believe that Israel had the right to go after the people who did that attack, but I think we should investigate how that attack happened in the first place. But it doesn't justify what they're doing now. It just doesn't. It was never really a war. Hamas is always like the Crips. It's like the United States versus the Crips. If I was to say the equivalency, Hamas really is not like an army. So when they say the Israeli-Hamas war, that's really a misnomer. It was never a war. It's an eradication, and so that's why I compared it to like if the United States wanted to wipe out the Crips or something like that, or the Bloods. That's what it's more like, the government against the gang.
Can we make the determination that the shooter itself?
So that's how I look at it. And then it just doesn't justify all the dead bodies, all the dead babies. It doesn't justify. And our money doesn't justify it. I don't know why our politicians are so
well, Trump is all in on Israel, and I'm not saying that in a smart way. So it's going to be a lot more war in Gaza with Trump in office. So I mean,
there's no more Gaza, so there's no more real war. I mean,
the
it's over,
individual
really.
was in
It's
the
just
crowd,
only
that's the more difficult
it's
shot, as
almost
you can well imagine.
nobody to
Because,
fight back.
you,
There's
you
no
have
real
somebody,
fighting back.
certainly with the weapons that
These
they're
guys are
employing,
done already.
if
So
they were to
Trump,
do
you see,
that,
there's
they
nowhere to
would
go.
stand a
Our
chance of
whole
collateral
government has
damage.
been bought by
So,
Israel lobby.
if it's what they
Everybody,
had to do to eliminate the threat, then
Republicans,
The money
they
that we
had to
send
do it.
overseas
But that's the
yeah,
more
could go
difficult
to
job.
so
One
many
thing is going back,
programs
look at
to
this,
the
is,
American citizens.
former President
yes,
Trump
So many
has
healthcare programs, so many programs to feed the poor
and then
and,
he
and, and just help people.
reaches up to his ear. That
Everything that
indicates
could help
somebody
the
had a shot
to me it seems like everything to help the little guy is called
because we're
communism,
shooting head
but it
on.
isn't communism when you helping the big
It wasn't
guy,
a
the
headshot.
airlines,
So they
the
got
yeah,
banking
everybody.
industries, all these other industries. That's not
Pharmaceuticals, everybody.
communism, that's capitalism, but it's communism when you help the little guy.
Yeah, I mean, our government is upside down, man, and we don't have, and we're caught in the matrix. Anyway, brother, man, let me get off this line.
He just turned his head.
And thanks for coming up, man. Hey, man, you know what, man? So you work at night? You work at night?
Shooter would have.
Yeah, actually, yeah, man. You been seeing me?
No. What I'm saying is, yeah, because I know you used to every so often you would pop in on the sports show or my show on BM News Network at 7. So you're working at 7 o'clock for the most part.
Yeah, I'll be up overnight and doing nights and stuff, you know.
Okay, I hear you.
Did you ever talk about Bronny James?
Yeah, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago. I mean, yeah, as soon as he got drafted, he was if you go back through my channel, you can see I always post my you see my sports things. They're episode 31, 30, 28, you know, you'll see it because I got a lot of stuff. So you look at my sports episodes, the replays are cool, right? So I go through, some people go through the replays.
One last thing.
Huh?
There's an interview with Paris Milan and an ex-Laker. I forget the guy's name is Josh something.
Okay.
You should check out that interview. Y'all might want to do a comment on that interview, you know.
Paris Milan.
And again,
Yeah, Paris Milan interviewing an ex-Laker named Josh. I can't remember his name. Josh something.
Okay. What's up with that?
I mean, she was so disrespectful to this man. I mean, it was just horrible, man. It was horrible how she disrespected this black man.
Oh man!
And it was a sister. It's a sister.
Well, of course.
She hates black. You know, she is like a femcel, man. And she totally disrespectful about how many kids he got and this and that. I mean, it's just very nasty stuff, man. And I'm surprised nobody's been talking about it that much.
I'll check. Well, you know what? They're nasty to black men a lot, but I'll check that out. But you heard what Kevin Durant said, right?
Oh, what did he say?
With Kevin Durant, man, they were trying to press him on why he don't have no girlfriend. He said, man, that you only rent. He pretty much said you only rent the girl, man. She might be your girlfriend, but she ain't yours. He said, I ain't getting married, man. He said, you got to be crazy. And you know what? I don't blame him. You know, I think if he wants children, if I was him, and every rich man, I think if you make a certain amount of money, married is a bad idea in America. It's a real bad idea.
Yeah.
You saw what happened to Iman Shumpert. You know, so if you have children, I would go through the surrogate route. I would go and sign some papers, find a woman, pay her a certain amount of money to have my kids, and then I'll hire an au pair to help me raise them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I would do. You know, with all the paperwork to make sure she can't come back at you because she don't want to change her mind and all that shit. You know what? They have surrogate births all the time. I think that's what Stephen A. Smith done. I know Michael Jackson, even though those kids are not his. You know, I think that's what he attempted to do, but those kids are not biologically his. I mean, everybody knows that.
Oh yeah.
He bought those kids from the white woman. But
you're right. I mean, even now, I've heard some lawyers will say that prenups are rock solid, but I hear every day the prenups getting thrown out for different reasons.
No, the prenups and nothing. They're not rock solid, but they can be challenged. But you can write a prenup where you don't get taken to the cleaners because the prenup gives you a basis. Now, even if a judge, see, the thing that people don't like with the prenups, it doesn't cover child support. So sometimes a judge will allow a woman to do an end around what's in the prenup by putting the money as part of child support.
Mm.
Because you can't cover child support with a prenup, but you could cover alimony. It definitely wipes out alimony, but people got to go through the steps. If you want to write a prenup, right, the first thing you have to do is she has to have her own lawyer. You have to have your lawyer. She has to have her own lawyer, not attached to yours. So this way it's negotiated. Prenup has to be signed almost a year before the
That's where the money starts coming in once you get lawyers involved, because
But when prepare the prenup, it's like insurance. I mean, you got it. If you have money enough to get that you need a prenup, you could pay for the lawyer to develop a prenup.
that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's an insurance policy. That's what it is. But the woman has to have one too. It's got to be signed 6 months to a year.
But I'm saying, what happens if the lawyer sees something? Well, in George's prenup against you, Isabella, you need to change this. You need to change this. You need.
That's why she has to have her own lawyer. It becomes a negotiation.
Oh man!
So here's how it helps.
Does it ever end?
No, nothing wrong with negotiation. Mars, what's wrong? Listen, if you can't put stupid shit in the prenup. Like if she gets nothing, you can't do that. So you got So her lawyer is gonna say, well, what about this kind of clause? What about that? You say, nah, I don't want that. She says, yeah, well, you work it out. So, but when it's signed, she can't say that you took advantage of her because she had a chance with a lawyer representing her to come up with the agreement. Judges don't throw that out. If it's signed 6 months to a year before the marriage, then she can't say I signed it during duress, like the day before, right? That's 2. 3, you can't have stupid shit in there. You can't have stupid shit in there. I mean, it has to make sense. And it just has to make sense. And there's a 4th item. I can't remember what it is, but there's four steps about a prenup that is very critical. And then if you take those 4 steps, they're less likely to get thrown out. But it doesn't cover child support. It just doesn't. That's a separate thing. And so sometimes the judges will fuck you over by saying, you make $10 million a year, so your kid needs to have $2 million a year in child support. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of thing that gets you. So, and that's why if I was rich, I would, if I'm broke and I get together with a woman, we become rich, then it's a different story. But if I'm rich already, I would never advise a man to get married, not under these circumstances. Hell with that shit.
It's no way that it's no way that you can. Women have been given too much power, and they're not it's gonna sound bad. They're not responsible with power. They can't handle it.
They can't.
They cannot handle it.
Yeah. Or
they'll do stuff. Keep the kid away from the guy. Keep the kid away from the dad, even if it hurts the kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't think in terms of what's best for this person I love. It's how I feel and what I want. Screw my child. Screw what's best for everybody.
That's what I said.
That's what you're dealing with out here.
That's why I said parental male alienation from their children is probably the biggest problem with separate families. It's the women keeping the kids away from their fathers. It's big and it's huge. I think it's a bigger problem than people give it credit for. Anyway, brother, man, let me go, man.
Let you go, man. Let you get some food and chill, man. But
I'm chill, man. Talking to you. Up, man. Hey, listen, man. I mean, we'll see more of you, man. You know where I'm at most of the time. I'm here.
I'm gonna try to catch up with you, man. I've been kind of putting in them hours, man.
But nah, man, listen, man. You gotta make the bag, man. I mean, you know what, man. This we ain't going nowhere. But with BM News Channel, we have Monday is my show, Tuesday we have flipping tables, and Friday is the barbershop. Barbershop, we get the fellas up there and just chop it up on Friday nights. And we have some topics. So anyway, man, but on my channel is the sports show. It's my only live show that I do. And what I'm going to try to do is, first of all, I have to learn how to be a good YouTuber. So I got to find a way to build an audience for that particular show on Wednesday. And it's just a matter of getting into the nitty gritties and finding out how to do that.
Well,
Right? So,
talk to me on on the email. I got some ideas and stuff. We could talk offline.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I got your email. That's cool. Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
man.
All right, man. You have a
Thanks
great
for
one,
popping-
man.
Yeah, you too, man. Thanks for popping up, man. It was good.
No
Good to see you.
problem.
Later. Oh, he cut out.